Welcome to Lesson 3. Adobe Bridge can be considered the command center for the Creative Cloud. In Adobe Bridge, you can manage and organize your files, utilize and modify XMP metadata for faster searches, and quickly preview files before opening them. As you can see, I have Photoshop open in front of me, but I'm going to select Browse in Bridge. As I mentioned in the previous lessons, Bridge does not automatically install as a default with Photoshop. You may see the Adobe Application Manager appear if you select Browse in Bridge and you don't have it yet installed. You can then select it to download it and then also install it on your system. As I mentioned, you can use Adobe Bridge as the command center for all your Creative Cloud applications because, as you can see, all these different file formats are recognized in Adobe Bridge and a thumbnail is provided. Now, don't think of Adobe Bridge as anything complicated. All it is your file directory system with additional helpful information that you can access more easily. So, for instance, you can see that I can go through the breadcrumbs up here and go back to my desktop, go into my PS Lessons, and into any other folder that I want, and thumbnails appear showing me the images or files that are in there. I can even see InDesign, Word files, PDFs, in addition to the standard Creative Cloud file formats. Let me show you how you can organize things a little bit better and find the files you want easier with Adobe Bridge. So first of all, you can see up at the top there are a whole bunch of different options up here to help you to find your files or go to other files or even return to Photoshop quickly. You also see that I have the opportunity to download files directly from my camera. And I can also go into Refine to enter something called Review Mode, where I can quickly scan through all my images. I'm pressing Escape to go back to the normal Bridge view. Now what I'm going to do is go up into these options at the top, and you'll notice that in the far right, I can choose to select a new folder. Now I'm not doing this just in Bridge. This new folder has actually been created in my directory system. I'm going to call this Graphics. And then I'm going to select my graphic images. So I'm selecting the boy skateboard and then holding down my Shift key and selecting Flip It, and then just drag and drop it into that folder. Well, this is great. I can help organize my files, but I can even set up folders to be my favorite. So I can click on this graphics folder and drag it over to where it says Drag Favorites here in the Favorites tab. And now anytime I want to access that folder, I can quickly go in and find it. You'll notice that over in the Favorites tab, which is the default, you're seeing favorites or standard folders that you'll want to quickly access. But if you click on Folders, you can also access every folder in your directory system just like you normally would if you weren't using Adobe Bridge. I'm going back and I'm going to go into the PS03 Lessons folder again. I'm going to select this image. And you'll notice that off to the right, I have all the metadata about this image. Now the really interesting thing about this is that camera information is even included in here, and I can add additional information to this file. So I might want to scroll down to IPTC Core and make sure it's open, and go down to something called the Description Writer, and I'll call myself Student, and then I'll scroll down and maybe give this a description. So why am I doing this? It's so that I can easily find this information later. So I'm going to put in here skateboarder catching air. You can put whatever you want in. It's just so that now I have a description that is associated with this image, and I'm going to click on Apply. You can also click on the Confirm button at the bottom. The reason why I had that dialog box appear is because I clicked out of the metadata panel and it wanted to make sure that I wanted to apply that information first. I can also associate keywords with images. I'll just show you a couple examples here. I'm going to go down to the bottom of the Keywords panel and click on the plus sign for new keyword. I'm typing in skateboarder. And then I can also say I want a new sub keyword underneath that, and I'm going to put in male. Now these are not checked as of yet until I click on them and I can say apply that keyword and apply that keyword. And now they are associated with this particular image. And as I go over to other images, I can also apply them to other ones as well. Now, what if you did an entire photo shoot and you have a bunch of keywords and you have a bunch of names and descriptions that you want to associate with all of them? You don't have to go through each image individually. You can also go up to Tools and select Create Metadata Template. In here, if you have an image selected, it's going to bring up the metadata that's already associated with it. And you can check what you want to keep in your template. So maybe in Creator, I want to come up here and type in Digital Classroom. And then I can save this as my skateboard template. Now I can select other images and I can go up to Tools and I can choose to either append metadata where it will keep the existing metadata and add my additional metadata, or I can totally replace my metadata. This again makes searching easier. I can do a Command F or Control F, and then I can come in here and I can find items based upon file name, bit depth, description. Maybe I want to put in here that in the description is skate, and then of course those images that were tagged with that description are found easily. You can also take advantage of something called the filter. Now I'm going to click on the X over here to clear the search and go to the filter panel, and you'll see that everything that is listed in the filter is also associated with a file that is being shown in Adobe Bridge. So in other words, if I'm quickly trying to find a Photoshop document, I can click on Photoshop and see that document, or QuickTime Movie. If I'm looking for a .ai or Adobe Illustrator file in this folder, I can quickly see that none exist. But when I open up the graphics folder, I can see that I have two there. Now I'm going back up to the PS03 Lessons folder. The keywords that you see listed here aren't just random. These are keywords that are associated with one or more of the images that are out there. So when I click on Grab, you can see I can find it. This is helpful if you're not quite sure which keyword you associated with each file. You can even filter based upon date created or date modified. So as you can see, it makes it really easy to find and organize your files. If you find the file that you want to open, you can either double click on it and it will launch in the application that it's defaulted to, or if you're not sure that it's going to launch in the right application, you can choose right click and then select the application as well. There are a lot more things that Adobe Bridge can do, and if you read Lesson 3, you'll find out more of them. This has been Jennifer Smith for Digital Classroom.